Because you don't trust me.
I'm trusting you now.
Oh my god. I mean, it's cute. You think that's enough.
Hello everyone, my name is Tom, and let's talk about this. So Invincible, as I wished, is getting a lot of attention. Moment of appreciation for that. However, in the realm of animation discourse, any show that gets attention is going to be picked apart with no charitability. So we're at that point. I'm not going to pretend that Invincible isn't guilty of playing into a few pretty clear problematic tropes so far. They kind of skirt around them, try and make them subversive, but burying your gaze is still burying your gaze, even if you're just ambiguously writing them off of tragedy. This is obviously a bit nitpicky and not reflective of the objective quality of the show, but it is 2021 and it's totally okay to expect more at this point. But we're here to talk about Amber, Mark's love interest throughout the first season of the show, a character who is actually a white woman in the comics and a black woman in the show. Now, some people are taking issue of how she is being used to play into the disposable black girlfriend trope, which I didn't even know was a thing, but yeah, there's not even any subversion there. And it's incredibly damaging if seeing love stories about people who look like you tend to almost always steer in the direction that's not going to work out and they're going to leave you for someone else. And changing the race of a character for more representation just to play into that trope kind of defeats the purpose of the representation in the first place. And I ain't gonna tell anybody that they can't be upset about that. However, Amber has been getting a lot of negative reception since the penultimate episode of the season, where she was upset with Mark about always ditching her, so he revealed his secret identity, hoping that providing context for his shortcomings would earn him forgiveness, only for her to respond with, "Yeah, I already knew, and that doesn't change anything." Which of course people are upset about, because how dare she? He did the thing and she thinks she has a right to be mad at him, but he invincible. When she totally does have a right to be mad at him. Like, we need to start understanding that fictional concepts like secret identities, which we approach from a very black and white position, would not be so black and white in real life. Which the show is very heavily based on looking at how superhero concepts would actually work in real life, so this makes complete sense. It should come as no surprise. And of course, we also have this idea that if we were superheroes, girls would be like, "Wow, so cool, I'm so into it." And it would be like a free pass of, "You have to put up with all my garbage because you're dating me, a superhero." But realistically, who actually wants to date a superhero? Why would you want a boyfriend who will casually stand you up because he's busy literally dying to death? Even the superhero thing aside, imagine dating someone who just straight up doesn't have time for you, but also constantly makes commitments and promises, knowing that they're probably gonna let you down. That's an entirely good reason to get upset with them and not want to date them. Which is why Amber keeps trying to break up with Mark throughout the season. She doesn't try to expose him, she just tries to break things off because he clearly doesn't have time to give her the relationship she wants. Which I think not having your expectations in a relationship met is a pretty valid reason to try to end things. But of course, Mark keeps pushing her to keep things going, and she gives him chance after chance until she's just too fed up to entertain it anymore. Now, I know I'm making it sound like Mark is actually a bad guy here, but Amber didn't need to keep entertaining him. She could have just acknowledged that he's trying his best with his situation, and things aren't changing, so they're probably not gonna change, and that unfortunately means things aren't going to work out. And instead, she would humor things into escalation. But she's not the bad guy either. Mark was incredibly irresponsible and inconsiderate to string Amber along, knowing full well that he didn't have time for a relationship. So wait, I'm going kind of back and forth, and you might be wondering, why won't you take a position? If all this is true, then who is the bad guy here? I'm gonna hit y'all with a nuclear take, but I think teenagers might just be dumb. I mean, of course Mark is going to bend over backwards to try to maintain a relationship with one of the first girl who shows an interest in him, and you know why I know that? Because I did the same thing at his age, and it was literally one of the stupidest decisions of my life. But overall, an 18-year-old boy with a good heart and very little experience, who has the opportunity to be in a relationship, is most likely going to do everything in his power to make that relationship work, completely blind to whether or not that's what's best for him and his partner. On the flip side, I've never been an 18-year-old girl, so this is mostly coming from observation and secondhand information, but if you're young and found a guy who is genuinely kind, attractive, and charming, you're probably going to be in the same boat of wanting it to work out even if there are red flags.
You know, it's funny. When you look at someone through rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags.
Amber set expectations for Mark multiple times, and much more often than not, Mark let her down. But despite that, she chose to see Mark for who he could be instead of the guy in front of her, most likely because she was trying to be understanding of his superhero situation, but you can't keep setting yourself on fire to keep someone warm, so we saw a breaking point. And I actually think it's pretty unfair to paint Amber as an angry black woman, because her personality is not one that is angry. If anything, she is too patient and too forgiving to the point of compromising herself into a position position where she needs to be angry, which she should be allowed to be. And I know that we kind of have an inherent bias because we're experiencing this situation through Mark's perspective, but both William and Eve basically took Amber's side, which frames her reaction as appropriate within the voice of the show, because it is completely appropriate. To recontextualize it, if I was dating someone who I would make plans with and they would consistently promise to be there and then flake, even for legitimate reasons, I don't think I'd stay in that relationship for long. Not even because of them not being available, but it's a pretty big failure of communication. It also signals that you probably aren't that much of a priority to them, which is not a good thing.
What I'm trying to say is I don't value your time.
On top of that, even if it was understandable why Mark didn't tell Amber he was invincible, I can imagine it would hurt if your boyfriend was actively hiding a massive part of his life from you, regardless of the reason. Because emotions don't make sense. If someone means well but hurts you, their intentions don't negate the emotional impact. You can justify it and make excuses for them, but suppressing those emotions only makes things worse. At the end of the day, both members of the relationship are definitely immature and not proficient in how to handle a relationship, but that's part of life. I don't think either person is in the wrong, and it's actually kind of concerning how people just kind of jump to hate on Amber in this situation. Could the show have done a better job of framing this situation? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think it's mostly just important to recognize that neither character was meant to be thrown under the bus for this breakup, and it's just a story of two 18-year-olds trying and failing to be boyfriend and girlfriend, which again, is part of life. But as always, I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below, or you can find me at TommyPQM on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. You can also find us at Roundtable Vids on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Roundtable and hit the bell for notifications to never miss a video. Shout out to all our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Tom. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. See ya!